I don't know if I'm going to keep the awkward wave in, but that was the first thing that came into my head on how to open a video. I'm hoping that this is going to be my first booktube video. I say first, I will get to that later, because this is not my first booktube video ever, but in this era it is. So I thought I would just jump straight in, wanting to start booktube for a while, and I've not kind of really had the confidence to, because sitting in front of the tripod and the phone and just talking to a camera doesn't really come that naturally to me. I'm a very chatty person, as you will notice in this video. I tend to warble and ramble a lot. Warble? I don't warble, I don't sing. Ramble is what I meant to say. I ramble a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Booktube Newbie tag. The version that I found online has 10 questions. There are the 10 questions written down in my beautiful Marauders Map notebook. So I'm just going to answer the questions. I'm going to then see how this video turns out when I'm editing it, and if it's awful, you will never see this video. It will never make the light of day. If it's not awful, I will upload it and I'll see what happens. So I'm just going to jump straight in. The first question that I've got written down here is, why did you start this channel? Basically because I like talking about books. I work in a bookshop. I suppose I should start with that. I work for Waterstones. I'm allowed to say that I work for Waterstones. I'm just going to say that I do. I have been a bookseller since August 2016. I've worked in libraries previously. My whole life has kind of revolved around books. I'm an English literature graduate. I just love talking about books. I love rambling about books. I like sharing books. I like listening to other people talk about books. So I just thought starting this channel is another way for me to kind of extend what I do every day of my life anyway, and I kind of want to be part of the booktube community in a bit of a wider fashion, rather than just kind of watching a few videos, commenting, following people on Twitter. I'd like to be part of the conversation. Question number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to YouTube? This is a question that I'm a little bit I'm not sure. Until I've been doing this a while and I have some more ideas behind me of what I want to bring to my YouTube channel, I don't really know. All I know is that I want to talk about books, and I kind of think that's fun anyway. Being part of the booktube community, no matter what conversation I brought to my channel, would be fun, because I'm talking about what we all want to talk about, which is books. Unique, I don't know. I do read a lot of what's popular on Booktube already, which is YA. A little bit older, I'm nearly 27, so maybe I kind of bring it at it from a different angle, because I'm probably not really in the target market anymore for YA, but I love it nonetheless. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm just hoping that kind of my personality will shine through once I've kind of got a little bit over the scariness of talking to a camera. So yeah, I'm hoping that I can just bring myself. Number 3 is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? As I mentioned in the first answer to the first question, just kind of engaging more with everyone and talking about books and having that as an extension of what I already really do every day. I work full-time in the bookshop, so my whole life basically revolves around books and getting other people to read books and reading books and talking about books. So I'm kind of excited just to have my own confidence grow and kind of have more of a dialogue with people and just make some friends. That's really what I'm excited for. Number 4 is, why do you love reading? I've always loved reading. As long as I can remember, I have always wanted to have a book in my hand. I just think it offers an escape, and I'm a creative person, but I'm not very skilled at being creative. So I like stuff, but I'm not very good at doing stuff. So like art, for example, drawing, writing. I can kind of write, but not really, not in any sort of talented way. Reading is something that I am very good at. I know it's not really that hard to be good at reading, but I am quite good at reading. So I'm quite good at kind of reading and talking about it and kind of enthusing about reading. That's my skill, hence why I do it for a job. So the reason I love reading is because it opens up a conversation and it provides escape, and I can just kind of pick up a book and go wherever I want and not have to leave my sofa, because I am very much a home bird. So I can travel through the medium of word. I love reading. It's my life, and it always has been. So I can't imagine not liking reading. That is a crap answer, by the way, sorry. Number 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? There may be a slight clue as to what got me into reading, you know, with the notebook and the t-shirt and that there, and behind the tripod is my Harry Potter bookshelf. These are just my general bookshelves. Harry Potter really was what got me into reading. It got me into obsessively reading. I was already reading before Harry Potter, but I think Harry Potter was the first thing that kind of, I was anticipating books. I was kind of having all these theories going around in my head. I had favourite characters. I was invested. That's really where I can pinpoint where I became an obsessive reader. And from then on, every birthday, Christmas was, can I have books? Is the new Harry Potter book coming out? When's it coming out? Can I have this to do with books, basically? For that, Burley Doherty, who is a children's author in the UK, I read a book called The Sailing Ship Tree. First book I ever remember picking from the library myself. My grandma used to take us to the library kind of at the weekends, and up until kind of The Sailing Ship Tree, I think I'd just been choosing the books that my grandma had been choosing for me and just going through stuff that was already there. But I remember The Sailing Ship Tree was the first one that I remember picking out, and I remember seeing the cover and reading the back of it and thinking, oh, this sounds really interesting. That book and Harry Potter, so The Sailing Ship Tree and Harry Potter are probably where I would say my reading life started, from what I can remember. And also The Secret Garden. In the UK, I don't know if it's the same now, when I was at school we used to have to do kind of reading on levels, and you had to read the colour-coded bands, and they were all really short books. Most of them were information books or very short story books. And once you'd got to a certain level, you could go on to what was called extended reading, which means that you could go onto the bookshelf that was kind of just storybooks, and there was no levels, and you could just pick what you wanted. And I remember going to my teacher and saying, I was in year 5, and saying, can I please just pick a book off the extended reading shelf? I'm really bored with what I'm having to read. I think I was on Brown or something, and they were all just really crap. And the first book I picked up was The Secret Garden, and it makes me laugh because when I look at it now, it's such a thin book, but in my head I still have 10-year-old Callie. The book was like this in my head, like that's how big The Secret Garden felt, because in comparison to what I'd already been reading. And that sparked what I wanted to do then. I wanted to go through all of those extended reading books that were on that bookshelf. So The Secret Garden, The Sailing Ship Tree and Harry Potter, I would say, are my basis in my reading history. Harry Potter being the main one, and Harry Potter is still a very, very big part of my life. The next question is, what questions would you ask of your favourite booktubers? Mainly just, how do I get better at this? You know, I'm sat here now, and once I'm talking it's fine and I'm kind of feeling myself, but mainly just, how do you get better? Kind of what advice would you give to a new booktuber? So I'm possibly specifically asking these questions towards Simon Savage and Liv from the Book Nook, because those are two booktubers that without fail, when they upload a booktube video, I will watch it. Just because I just love their videos. There are others, but Simon and Liv are the two at the moment that I'm religiously watching. So Liv, Simon, help! Basically, just advice, that's all I'd ask for. Next one is, what challenges will be the hardest to overcome? And I do think I've just touched upon that, in that just getting more confident, and also just kind of not overthinking what I'm going to be talking about. If I'm going to do a book haul, not thinking, oh well, these books have been doing the rounds anyway, because I do read YA, and YA is what is popular. I don't think I can overthink what I'm talking about on this channel. I'm not doing this to gain anything kind of, I don't know, numbers wise or anything like that. It's just, I see people doing this, I know I can do it, and I want to do it. So I just have to kind of just sit down and record the video and just hope for the best, basically. When did you start reading? I've always read. Says I've always liked books. There's a story that they tell, my parents tell me, is that I was 18 months old and we were in a hotel somewhere, and my mum had handed me a board book, so the ones that are like cardboard basically, and a couple on the next table leant over and said, how old's your daughter? And they said 18 months. And basically what I'd done is I'd realised that the book was upside down, apparently. That's what it had looked like to the people that were sat at the table, and I turned it the right way round and then carried on flicking through this book. And this woman from this couple was amazed that I was 18 months and I was able to tell that the book was upside down. I can't really pinpoint the exact time I started reading, but again, going back to the question on why do you love reading and what books got you into reading, I would say my memory is sparked from reading The Sailing Ship Tree, which I think I was about 6 or 7. So I would have been in about year 3, and I just remember really liking reading from then. Where do I read? Funnily enough, even though I have this room, I don't read really in here. This is our 3rd bedroom. I really should read in here because I've got my bookshelves in here. I have this nice comfy chair with a footrest, but it's quite isolating reading in here. I live with my boyfriend and we have 2 rabbits, who I'm sure you'll meet in due course. And so I read downstairs on the sofa, or I read before we go to bed. I also read on the bus on the way to work, and I read at work in the staff room. So I do read quite a lot, not as much as I used to. Being an adult kind of drains your time, which is fun, but kind of more sat on the sofa downstairs or in bed, and on the bus is where I read generally. So last question is, what kind of books do you like to read? Mainly YA, so mainly young adult. I don't know why. I tried to break out of the mould of YA and I just always go back to it. I particularly like YA fantasy. I don't really read much contemporary YA unless it's something that sounds like it is really up my street. YA fantasy and fantasy books are kind of my my area, my genre. I run the young adult and science fiction and fantasy sections at work purely because I asked to, because they're my areas and I love them. For example, some of my favourite authors are Sarah J Maas, Leigh Bardugo, Deborah Harkness with the Discovery of Witches series. So the author is Sarah J Maas with the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I know that in itself can be quite controversial because she splits a lot of people, but that woman is my queen, and I'm really sorry if that's not what you want to hear, but she is. So but yeah, fantasy, YA fantasy and adult fiction sometimes is what I read in general. That ends the questions. I have no idea what this video is going to be like once I go to edit it. It's already 14 minutes long. I did have a YouTube channel, a booktube channel, about 5 years ago. You will never find those videos, I've deleted them. I used to use a very poor quality webcam. So I have done this before, and I did do it for a couple of months. I was at university and it probably wasn't the best time to start a channel because I wasn't really reading freely. I was reading what I needed to read and some of it was not what I wanted to read, and as with anything, I am very poor at keeping up with stuff that I want to do, so I'm hoping that I can change that. This is my 2nd go at doing booktube, and I'm hoping that I can make a go of it this time. So yeah, that was the Booktube Newbie tag. I'm hoping that when I go to edit this, it's not all just complete ramble and I can salvage something to give to you from it. I don't know how you sign off YouTube videos. I'm not skilled at this anymore. Not that I was ever skilled in the first place. So that was the Booktube Newbie tag, and I've been Callie, and it's probably going to be called Books with Callie. So I think that's the name we're going to go for. So hopefully I will see you again soon. Bye.